Hi, my name is Roland McReynolds. I'm Executive Director with the Carolina Farm Stewardship Association, and welcome to this educational panel for the Sustainable Agriculture Conference that we're hosting. This session is Farmers Working Together, the New Mexico Farmers Marketing Association. And I'm very pleased to be joined here today by several folks who work with and represent the New Mexico Farmers Marketing Association. First, we have Denise Miller. She's the Executive Director of NMFMA, and she directs the association's wide-ranging value chain activities, which are devoted to strengthening the state's local food system and cultivating strong programs and networks to promote that local food system. New Mexico Farmers Marketing Association programs and resources are focused on assisting farmers and food producers to improve their profitability, improve the nutrition and health of New Mexico communities. We're also joined by Michael Venticinque, who is a 20-year veteran of the grocery retail industry, and since 2018 has been the value chain coordinator at the New Mexico Farmers Marketing Association. That role involves helping New Mexico farmers expand their sales base, and in particular, this program since 2018 has facilitated over $3 million in sales for local farms in the state of New Mexico. And finally, we're joined by Ralph Vigil, a 12th generation Nuevo Mexicano and an 8th generation farmer from Pecos, New Mexico. He operates Molino de la Isla Organics, an organic farm that produces acequia grown food for his community and helps educate the public about acequia culture and its benefits to the environment. He is chairman of the New Mexico Acequia Commission and a board member of the New Mexico Farmers Marketing Association. So, as I mentioned, the association is dedicated to strengthening the local food system in New Mexico by supporting agricultural producers and cultivating strong networks for a healthier New Mexico. The association provides a host of programs and services, including public education about locally grown food and farming, food access initiatives, grants, and technical assistance for farmers. Denise, Mike, and Ralph are here to talk to us today about how New Mexico Farmers Marketing Association is expanding marketing opportunities for small farms to serve more people in their communities through the state of New Mexico's state food procurement program. So I was hoping just to start off by asking you all to describe the New Mexico State Food Procurement Program and how it works.
Sure. Well, I think I'll take that one. Thank you, Roland, and thank you all for having us. We're really pleased to be with you and hope we can share a little bit of information on how things have been working in New Mexico and continue to evolve. You know, nothing is ever a static program. It's always evolving, and I guess that's a good part of the fun of it. So we'll do our best to describe a little bit of that. So our state procurement program, it's called New Mexico Grown, and it has been evolving for about a decade, really a little even more than that. And it began out of the public education department. These were state funds that a number of groups advocated for over the years at our state legislature. And these funds for the public schools was really where this money was housed. And the way that the schools purchased food from our local farmers was really a patchwork of very loosely run programs. There was no unified program at all for the New Mexico Grown program. And so districts that had a champion would jump in and purchase food and kind of figure out how to do it. And the districts that didn't really know what to do didn't really use the funds so much. And so as time went by, and very importantly, the public education department made a commitment, a financial commitment, to hire an in-house program coordinator, farm to school program coordinator, which really helped move things to the next level. And I think that was back in 2019. And as that farm to school coordinator started her work, and she came out of the nonprofit world, so she understood farm to school, she understood the needs of farmers, which again was really critical. She created a 10 district pilot in 2019 that was called the Approved Supplier Program. And that was really meant to start to provide a more structured program with that incorporated, an application for farmers and food safety rules that would kind of ensure that the vulnerable populations would have that the buyers would be able to know that the food being purchased had gone through some food safety standards, and also to provide information to the buyers about how to work with the farmers and how to develop those relationships. So that was the first big step in 2019. In 2020, 2020 was a weird one because of COVID. Don't have to tell anybody about that, but the program was a little more solidified. And then we being really the public education department, started reaching out to their sister agencies, which are the senior centers out of our aging and long-term service department. And we have a new state agency called the Early Child ECCD, the Early Childhood Development. I can never quite get the
Right.
right.
Which alphabet soup is it? Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. And so now there is an interagency task force. We got another little pot of money, pilot money for the senior centers to start to spend. And so the main partners, I'm going to be done here in a second, the main partners for this program, I think the history is really foundational, though, to how where we are now.
Yeah.
And so the partners are 3 state agencies, with the public education department still taking the lead. It's our farmers and local food hubs who help in numerous ways. And then the NMFMA kind of sits right in the middle, helping coordinate the program and helping train farmers, and more things that you're going to hear about. But that's a little bit about what the state procurement program is and how it's been working.
Okay. And I mean, I do appreciate that history in it, because, so often, I mean, what our movement in sustainable agriculture talks about is getting healthy food from small farms into our school systems. And it's a huge challenge, and the food safety requirements, the logistics. It's kind of the holy grail, if you will, of a lot of how our movement is seeking to come together in terms of serving new markets. So it's really interesting that is actually a spur, and this is how you've leveraged that interest and need to actually move the program forward. So tell me a little bit more about how the Approved Supplier Program helps farmers access this the state purchasing program, and how you all support farmers to participate in that Approved Supplier Program.
Great, Roland. Thank you. I think I'll take that one. Denise, thanks for laying the groundwork there, because without the history, none of what I'm about to say would really make sense. So she mentioned the public education department, and it's kind of where this all started from. I remember riding around in a car with the young lady and I, driving across the state, organizing meetings with farmers, using meeting spaces from community centers to extension offices, gathering farmers there and talking about this program and moving it forward, and then getting them onto these lists and using food safety as the tool to do so. And then we've also done, with my work as value chain, driving around the state, I go to farms, and as all of us know here, that farmers do speak to each other, and they ask, well, next season, how did you join that program? And it just became a word of mouth type thing. It was really a grassroots effort that grew from just some very humble beginnings within that. And then, there was emails that went out where we would use our membership from the association to contact folks and let them know that this program exists and this is what we're doing, and sharing it. And then lastly, we've had an amazing relationship with the New Mexico Department of Agriculture. And they have been a great partner with us, from either backing us on some of the things we want to do, reaching out, suggesting farmers that become food safety certified and join this program. So it's really been a coalition of all these type state agencies to do so. And with us kind of being, as Denise mentioned, at the center of it, being a nonprofit, we're just strictly here to help the farmers and help grow these type programs.
Fantastic. And so how does the approved supplier program work? I mean, and you talked a little bit, mentioned it in terms of food safety. It's a system. A big part of it is assuring food safety practices on the participating farms, I assume, as well as like that it's actually food that's grown on those farms, not that came from someplace else.
No, absolutely. And within the food safety piece, we at the New Mexico Farmers Marketing Association have a program that's called the Tiered Food Safety Trainings, and it's basically a two-part course, one day, and then we give them a couple weeks later to take the second part. They're about 4 or 5 hours. We then help them write a farm risk assessment plan, where they in turn start looking at the farm in a little bit of a different critical eye than maybe they hadn't in the past. And they start identifying some food safety potential hazards. And so once that plan is turned in to reviewers such as myself, and there's a team of us, they're reviewed and they're either approved, or there could be a follow-up visit needed to get some clarification, or it could be just as simple as a phone call. But we're just moving that piece of it forward through the food safety piece of it, because as you know, we're selling to our children. Denise mentioned aging and long-term services. We're selling to our seniors. So we want to make sure that our New Mexico farmers are putting out the best product they can, grounded within food safety, because those are our vulnerable populations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and so it sounds like it's almost, I mean, we have programs that help farmers get GAP certified, but this is just making sure they have a food safety plan and implement a plan. It's not necessarily like going through an audit, it sounds like.
Well, what this does is helps them become FSMA compliant.
Okay.
And so they're using good agricultural practices after this without the certification through the tiered training program. Awesome. Now, we do have a third tier, which is where I would come into play on that one through the association, through GAP certification. I myself am a GAP auditor. And what we can do is offer some one-on-one assistance once they achieve that level and they're wanting to move forward within that piece. But everything that we do up until that point gets them FSMA compliant, which I'm sure everyone knows, the Food Safety Modernization Act of 2011. So we basically, outside of the certification through this program, we teach them good agricultural practice and make sure they're using those. And just, farmers are great people. They're smartest people I know. And it's just, sometimes it's just a matter of you don't know what you don't know.
Right. Absolutely.
So it's those type things.
Absolutely. Ralph, this would be a question for you. As somebody who's been participating in this program, what have the advantages been for your farm to be enrolled in this approved supplier program?
Great question. It's really helped me expand my markets and really get into a market that ties our children, our youth, our future to their food. Being able to sell to a school district or to a senior center. A senior center ties our elderly within our communities back to some of the traditional foods that they may have missed. So it's a really cultural thing for us in northern New Mexico and New Mexico in general. Food is a part of who we are, and it's part of our family stories and history. So tying those connections into our acequia systems, as you said, are some of our oldest and richest parts of our history as a state, just right under our Native American brothers and sisters and their history and connections and ties to food, water, and land. So it was important for me to be able to access those markets in order to be able to start educating our future leaders and generations on where their food comes from, where their water comes from, and maintaining that. So tying all those aspects of water, land, stewardship, and growing food so that they grow up with a mind that food just doesn't come from a grocery store. We have to start respecting the water and the environment that provides us with the resources to feed us. So it's a way larger picture than just farm to table, farm to market. For as far as what I am doing in my work as chairman of the New Mexico Acequia Commission, so it's been a really positive outcome for me. It's enjoyable. Talking to kids that within the family, asking if they enjoyed their carrots and letting them know those carrots came from us. So it's, you know, it was peaked out for me in a small town of selling at a farmer's market. So in order to establish and to grow what I was doing, I needed larger markets. So I was introduced to the Farmers Marketing Association, and they basically guided me through all the steps. The food safety assessment for me was easy because I was certified organic. So kind of like had all my ducks in a row, even though certified organic has nothing to do with food safety when it goes to the table. But my practices were still in line with making sure and ensuring that I was growing and taking the best quality and healthiest food possible with safety in mind all the time. So there were some adjustments I had to make, which weren't huge, and it's just become a matter of routine now. And looking forward to other opportunities and working with the senior centers. And we just did one in the city of Las Vegas, New Mexico, the original Las Vegas in the United States. We did a senior program, getting the state to be able to adjust their procurement, the city to adjust their procurement code to allow them to us to be able to sell to the senior centers, because the city of Las Vegas senior center serves um, rural communities outside of Las Vegas. So they have a contract with the county to serve Pecos, my community, the valley, and other underserved communities that have no access to fresh food. So it's really an extension and an arm. And NMF Farmers Marketing Association has done a wonderful job in connecting us to those markets and helping us be successful and sustainable at the same time.
That's fantastic. I really appreciate your encapsulating all that, Ralph. And you know, I think the point about how the certification, organic certification paperwork, making it, you know, it relatively easy to start to shift around to food safety management. That's a really great point. I want to make sure I understand. In your case, are you distributing the food directly to these senior centers and schools, or is there an intermediary, a food hub that you're working with? Ralph, do we still have you?
Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
I
you
was
now.
pressing the mute button a little too much there, and it was going back
Okay,
and forth. So sorry about that. But
no problem. And the question was, are you working with a food hub or other business in terms of getting your food into those senior centers and schools?
no, I deliver directly. That's a
Okay.
future goal and vision for us to be able to create like a regional food hub within my county that would assist farmers so that we can focus more on growing instead of delivery and packaging. So that would definitely help us feed more people. But there are places in the state that I do have food hubs, like in the South Valley in Albuquerque. There's Agricultura and the Economic Development Center, and I know they're doing one in the northwest corner of the state. So it's happening, and it's just a matter of time before the great work is spread, and we can work within these systems and have a food hub to support us.
Fantastic. Is what and this would be a question for any of you. Can you describe a little more the profile of the farmers who are participating in this program?
I'd like to take that one, Roman. So to little piggyback on what Ralph was saying, we deal with the best part of our association is the profile of our farmers is we don't really have a profile.
Okay.
We help farmers on all scales. I work with farmers that are just starting out. It's their very first season, all the way up to farmers down south with hundreds of acres, chili growers, onion growers, etc. So we encompass all of that. So we don't gosh, I can't think of the word right now, but we don't care. If you're a farmer, we're here to help you.
Okay.
So, and within that, so Ralph mentioned, and you had mentioned the food hub. So we are working with, and I myself has become a project for me because I've identified that a lot of the times we get from our institutions, being the schools, the senior centers, et cetera, is often they don't have time to call multiple farmers. Ralph is in a little bit of a different situation where he's at because he is a very well-known established farmer, and there's not a lot of agriculture in that area that we can get safely to these people. But throughout the state, he mentioned Agricultura. There's also New Mexico Harvest in Albuquerque. And these are GAP certified food hubs now that are using our food safety programs or the PSA trainings through Extension Office to encompass food safety throughout the whole chain. And then our state buyers, schools, seniors, early childhood development, it doesn't matter. What we're working towards as a goal is to where they can call a food hub around the state and say, I would like potatoes, carrots, onions, and peas.
Right.
Under one roof, they can place their whole order.
Okay.
And then it can be distributed from there. And within that, we're asking our hubs, and they're doing so very easily, to interconnect with each other. So maybe Ralph's amazing carrots that he grows up in Pecos, we can get them down south to the Las Cruces area, where maybe they're not growing them, and we can start pushing New Mexico agriculture all around the state and making it much easier to grow. So a little bit long answer to what the profile is, but honestly, we don't have one.
Okay. Terrific. And I mean, I appreciate the it's diverse agriculture. Denise, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to add just real quickly, in terms of the profile, I mean, Mike's exactly right. That's the scale of farmers. We're really working to serve all farmers, but we've also made a pretty concerted effort to incorporate as much equity. And, in our state, that really means working with our Spanish-speaking population, where sometimes Spanish is the first language or the only language. So the application, our risk assessment, food safety trainings, we have all of that available bilingual, in Spanish as well as English. We've also got a food safety training that's being developed out on the Navajo Nation, where they're trying to adapt our core. So the goal is to really, especially with our food safety training itself, that communities can adapt it. We work with them so it doesn't lose core concepts, but that it becomes adapted to other cultural, needs by a community. And so that's a really important piece. And it also is reflected in on our approved supplier list, which the buyers use to find the farmers or food hubs to purchase from. It also shows the size of farm. So sometimes the farmer will fill in the size of the farm, sometimes they don't, and it also shows the number of workers. And so the Aging and Long-Term Services Department, for example, has added a requirement that 5% of their purchases should be spent on small farms with, I think it's maybe 2 acres or less, or 1 acre or something like that. So really trying to make an effort to particularly support the small scale farmer, who often gets left out of these state procurement programs.
That's fantastic. Both the depth of the support and how you're tailoring it to communities, but also that the state is actually interested in paying attention to that level of detail of the farmers that are being supported with the program. And that's got to be also a testament to your all's work in your community over the last 20 years or more of what you all have been doing. So that's I appreciate that further explanation. And I guess we're talking here about making it easier for farmers to connect with these really important markets in their own communities. what have been the biggest challenges for farmers in participating in the approved supplier program, at least the ones that you've worked with, and what are you all doing to try to overcome those challenges?
Mike, you wanna, or Ralph? I think you guys are best suited to discuss this one.
I'll just jump in real fast, and I'm going to hand it off to Ralph because he is a farmer who does participate in this program. A lot of the challenges we have are, getting farmers to understand the business side of the farming, and what I mean by that is invoicing, packaging, what they may want, different things along those lines. And then we've had a real issue this last year, and I'm sure we're not the only state. Well, I know we're not, with supply chain issues as far as what our farmers need, boxes, food grade sanitizers, just different things along those lines. So those have been some really challenging issues. So
okay, terrific.
Ralph?
Thanks for that, Mike. Ralph, your thoughts from just a farmer perspective about the hurdles and how they've been overcome?
For me, it was more of transitioning from retail to wholesale and trying to figure out those prices and what I could sell what for, just adjusting and then having to adjust what I grow to make up for maybe any loss that I don't make retail. But now I'm growing a lot more consistent, not losing product because I'm not bringing it home. So it's consistently sold out. So just learning how to basically plant in succession to where I have a continuous product has been the most challenging part of the growing aspect. The business side of it, um, invoicing. I've had my own business for a while. I was in real estate before, so all that business side, I was already experienced in some of it. So it wasn't really a huge transition to it, but I can see some of the paperwork and especially risk safety assessment, lot numbers. Having to put lot numbers and track your food for food traceability. Was something new to me, so it's something that I had to learn, and it's something I implement in labeling of my my product as well. In case there is a problem or an issue, I can trace it back to where it came from and who harvested it. So those are all important um, things that need to happen. And if you're a farmer, it's just something that comes with the territory and something that I think you should be open to. And there's plenty of help and support, not only from the New Mexico Farmers Marketing Association, but from other farmers as well. I try to look at myself because, a lot of these tests, they've put me before to, try to test the waters. And we've been pretty successful in where we've gone with it. So now I can go and teach other farmers and talk to other farmers and let them know how they can, because I can't do it alone. It's too big of a system for me to feed on 1 acre, 2 acres, 3 acres. So I think that collectively as farmers, we can do it together to feed the bigger, um, greater population of our community. Also, what was challenging was food storage, right? So I was used to living out of coolers, um, planting right before, harvesting right before market,
Yep.
getting everything in coolers, going to market, bringing stuff back, trying to get rid of it because I had nowhere to put it, and there was no
Yeah.
$100, $200 refrigerator I could stuff enough stuff in. So, New Mexico Farmers Marketing Association is also great in the fact that they provide a grant for small farmers to expand their operations or do something innovative. So I was fortunate to be a recipient of that grant. So I converted a shed, half of it into a 8x8 walk-in cooler, converting air conditioner unit with the cool bot. So now I have plenty of storage that I need. Now it's a different ball game. I'm not having to harvest right before. I'm not having to harvest. I can pretty much control when my harvests come in. I have the storage for it, and if I do not sell anything, well, I have a place to store it, and then later move that product throughout the week. So it's just been a great support, because they bring all the pieces together of the puzzle for us. Not only do they help us expand, but they help us with the infrastructure to make that possible.
Yeah, that is fantastic support, and that I commend you all for what you're able to deliver to farms in this. And Ralph, I mean, just to be clear, you know, this your business is growing, your farm is growing, even though these markets are wholesale. This is still financially, this makes sense for you as well as for your farm mission.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot easier. Farmers markets are difficult. The thing about farmers markets I love is that you get to connect with your consumer. You're talking to them, you're seeing them. So I kind of do both when I can do both, because I don't like giving that part. I like the community sense of it. But as far as wanting to grow and make more money in order to be able to support a full-time market presence in the future, I needed to expand my operation, and the wholesale is getting me there to where if I plan my wholesale a little bit better, and it's going to take me a couple of years to do so because it takes seasons, and seasons aren't short. So as I get better at that and finding out what are the needs and speaking to the schools prior, like I already spoke to West Las Vegas School District, who I sell to. They want more carrots. I told them, give me 3 crops I can grow for you that are easy. And they want romaine lettuce and carrots. I can do that all day long. They have 8 schools under their school district, so there's plenty of lettuce and carrots to that need to go out, and I don't even probably meet half of it at my full capacity of what I can actually accomplish and deliver. So it's a wonderful thing. As I move forward, I'll figure out how to expand with the proceeds that I do gain from the wholesale, but it's a work in progress, and I'm just grateful that I do now have the opportunity to expand, as to where prior to these programs or assistance, I was stuck in what I was doing because I didn't know what I was doing as far as being able to get out there and sell myself to the schools and the whole procurement and institution sales and get through all the red tape of the government. So now I can, and it's a pretty swift process.
Fantastic, fantastic. I really appreciate that perspective.
Roman, would you mind if I just interjected
Yes,
real
please
quick
do.
on? So Ralph touched on a really great topic, and it is one of the challenges. So it goes back to some production planning and getting crops ready for whatever your customer may be. But then it has been the aspect of teaching wholesale versus retail farmers market, the pricing structure, and getting farmers to understand that if you can sell 1,000 pounds of something at one shot, at a maybe a little lesser price, then volume fixes, sales fixes everything. And that's a little bit of the old retailer in me. But sales will fix it. And you might be able to sell it for 50 cents, $1 a pound less in wholesale, but you're going to make that up. And the one question I always ask is, what's your time worth? So it's really an important part of that. Sorry about the dog, guys.
No problem. I think we're used to it in the age of Zoom here, but yes, that's a really good point in terms of helping farmers to understand how the math can work out, and again, how much is their time worth, and how should they value their time and their operation. That's a really excellent point. This has kind of gone through the main questions I have. Is there anything else that you all wanted to make sure to highlight about the approved supplier program, or how you all support farmers to participate in the program?
Well, I'll just say it is such a, I mean, you kind of touched on it, I think, when you read a little piece of our mission there about the networks and the partnerships, but it truly takes, extensive partnerships with state agencies, with farmers, with just having, amazing staff like Mike that, I don't know how we would do a lot of this without people like him. And it really is, it takes a lot of work, but you can get there. And I think, yeah, it's just finding those champions. I think we've been really fortunate in New Mexico to have in our state government. I mean, it's agriculture is really woven into the fabric of a lot of people's history and lives. And so there's many people in state government who really come from the agriculture world, and they understand the importance of keeping it. But folks have to find those champions that are going to keep moving things along. We couldn't do it without all of their help. But really, the farmers, when Mike said how smart farmers are, I'm always amazed. To me, finding grants or dealing with the partnerships when I sit behind my computer, that seems easy compared to what people like Ralph do with actually growing the food and working with Mother Nature and solving problems on the farm that are just really amazing. So I think the farmers are really the heroes here. And yeah, that's what I would throw in there. Mike, you probably have some thoughts.
I do, and I would just anybody wanting, if the Carolinas or whoever were wanting to start a program like this, the value of it is unmeasurable. But don't get discouraged because it is a grassroots campaign. I think in 2012 or 2018, maybe when this food safety training started, we had 12 farmers attend the first year, like tier 1, and then 1 completed tier 2. Right. And then when it moved forward, 2019, a few more joined, the cells started to grow. And then we started connecting farmers into not only the schools and the other state agencies, but into retail as well. We've got products going into different grocery stores around the country now. And it's just been a patient but growing process. And I can't express enough. I love working with the farmers. They made me leave retail because they're actually people I like. and just patience is the thing I could say on starting a program like this.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Thanks, Mike. I just want to say that what we're doing with this program and with New Mexico Farmers Marketing Association's approved supplier program and just the way you're knitting all these other support programs together to grow markets in farmers' own communities is really just a remarkable example. And like you say, really commendable work that I think should be inspiring farmers and organizations across the country because you've really come up with you've put a lot of pieces together to make something happen that has been a dream for so many of our people in our community across this country for so long. So thank you very much for what you're doing and for pioneering these strategies. And for building those networks and partnerships to help make it happen. So thank you all very much for joining us. I'm sorry, Ralph, we lost the connection there, but thank you, Ralph, Denise, Mike. This has been super informative. Thanks very much for being here. And Mike, we'll look forward to talking with you further at the Q&A panel that we'll do live on November 13th. Thanks very much for tuning in. And Denise, Mike, take care. Have a great day.
Thanks, Roland. Take care.